All right, Shalom Aleichem. Welcome to the Tents of Israel. I just want to jump on here today. Today is 2/22/23. I had a few things I wanted to talk about today, just weighing on my spirit. But the main reason I wanted to come on was to say that the new moon was spotted last night, and I didn't personally see it. That's why I'm telling you today and not last night. It was cloudy here, so it was not visible for myself. But it was spotted around the world, and the land is not Aviv at this point. So we will wait for another lunar cycle and see what the land looks like next month, which we believe it will be Aviv by then, and we will be able to declare the new year or the biblical new year. So awesome, exciting times ahead. But the thing that actually, well, that was the main thing but another thing that's been in my spirit was basically what's going on in the world today. And with all these train wrecks and chemicals being put into the air and wars and rumors of wars, I mean, it puts me in the Matthew 24 mindset of all of this stuff happening, and how basically we're in a shadow war right now. We're witnessing the beginning of World War III. If you knew anything about the buildup of World War II, you would see that probably this is it very well could be the beginning of World War III with Russia and Ukraine. I have some videos that I'm going to let you look at today. But on this chemical thing, we've had train wrecks in Texas, California, Ohio, different places around the world, around the United States, with chemicals just being spewed into the air. I don't know if any of you have looked at any of the pictures of these chemical fires from airplanes. It looks like a diseased, festering boil when you look at the clouds from overhead. Like every time I see it, it puts me spiritually in the mindset of this nation is diseased and sick, and now the wounds are beginning to present themselves every time I see those types of pictures. But I'm going to let you watch some video today that talks about, some of the FEMA plans and that type of thing, because if they can pollute your land, they can take your land. Toxic land can be seized. And I mean, what better land to seize than farmland? So why not let's wreck trains and put chemicals into the air that are going to be washed back down on the earth, rain, which makes the soil toxic, gets into our water. We're going to see the effects of this for many years, I'm afraid. And it'll be a cover up like it always is, just like Gulf War syndrome when I was in Iraq. It was many, many years before they ever started even acknowledging that it was a thing, even though we had, thousands upon thousands of people dying and just different things, babies being born with scaly white skin. A lot of stuff going on there that the government didn't want to claim responsibility for. But that's just the MO. Us deny until we can't possibly deny anymore. And then when that happens, most of the people that were affected by it are already dead, so we don't have to pay out a large portion of what we should. And I believe we're seeing that same thing happen here as well. But I want you to watch this first video. This is what's going on in California right now. Let me jump over to that screen so you can just watch it for yourself.
Everybody, this is Doll Arnson with the Alaska Patriot Network. I am visiting California, and I am here with one of the local ranchers, and I was brought out to this field in Stanislaus County, California, and this is the center of like the heartland of the nut industry, the almond industry, the almond, walnut, cattle. There's not a lot out here, folks. And yesterday we were at a gathering and we were alerted by another rancher that the railroad company, some company that nobody knows which company this is, has brought in hundreds of these railroad cars. And you can just see the line of them here. Let me see it, make sure I'm getting it in the shot. Sorry. Getting this in the shot. Now, on the cars, they say odorless liquid petroleum gas. Now, they are loaded. They're riding low on their axles. They're double and triple deep on the switchback. And this is important because these ranchers, this is unprecedented in this area. No, none of them, they're like, what the hell is this? Why are they bringing this into the, heart of nowhere? I mean, unless you own land here or you're in the know-how, you don't know that this is here right now. And like I said, this is just the end of this line. I'll make sure I'm getting these cars in here. And it goes on for miles. There's hundreds of these cars filled with an unknown liquid in the middle. Now, what's significant about this is just over, a few miles over is the main water pipeline that goes into San Francisco. This also abuts two important in agricultural rivers that feed this agricultural valley. So we don't quite know what's going on here, and it was the talk of the valley yesterday. I'm just visiting from Alaska, so I did ask one of the ranchers to bring me out. Hey, everybody.
All right. So that is one there, where this young lady is paying attention. If you follow a bunch of this stuff, you know that there was another train in California that got exposed that was possibly, they believe, was going to be our next derailment that had the same chemicals on it as well. So people are paying attention to these trains now. That doesn't stop them from derailing them. But here we go. It just looks like the world is turning upside down on us, and people are like ostriches with their heads stuck in the sand, not paying attention to much. So when all of this stuff goes down and transpires, are they even going to be aware? Now, if you'd have to be under a rock if you didn't hear about, the earthquake in Turkey. So I want you to watch a little clip actually, I'm gonna wait for that. I'm gonna play this clip first. This talks about toxicity in the soil. So listen to what this young lady has to say. Let me jump over to that monitor real quick.
Okay, this video that I'm about to show you feels like it's the intro to a sci-fi horror movie, but it's real. Like it's real. It's not for a movie. Watch it and let me know your thoughts.
And NEOM is real. The future of work, living, and sustainability is coming to life. The master plan is being realized more every day. A project unique in scale, already being built. Our luxury island destination, Sindala, has launched. As has Trojena, our mountain destination. The Line, our flagship city, and our Center for Advanced Industries, Oxygen. Things are changing fast. This progressive stance is why we invested $175 million in Volocopter, the next generation of transport. It's why some 200,000 people are expected to attend the captivating exhibitions for the Line. And it's why the planet's fastest growing lifestyle brand, Ennismore, has become the first hotel partner for Trojena. Already, Saudia offers direct flights from Neom to London and Dubai. Our media sector has supported 25 productions in 18 months, working with names such as the BBC, Apple TV, and NBC. We can elevate life because we have a blank canvas, especially is not business as usual. This is the new future.
Now, from everything that I've been reading about these smart cities, you will have no freedom. Okay, so it sounds nice on paper, but no one will own a car. You're only allowed 2,500 calories a day, which, okay, fine. Some people need more. Everyone has different needs. Each family member is only allowed 3 new items of clothing a year. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like you meddling in our lives and dictating our every single choice. I don't like it.
See, this is the thing. They are setting the stage for a slave planet. Most of you knew about the Georgia Guidestones and that type of thing, and how they want to reduce the Earth's population to 500 million people. They cannot control 8 billion people. Okay, they know that is not sustainable for them to control 8 billion people. So what better way than to pollute our soil, to pollute our water, to kill off, the majority of the planet, creating these cities of refuge, of escape, to, literally make a slave planet. Many of you know what's been going on since 19, how the truck drivers when we were all saying there were shortages of baby formula and toilet paper and all of these different things that were shortages for us, the truck drivers were telling us something different, that they were hauling these things down into these big underground mountainous caves that they would have to drive for miles and miles and miles back into, and unloading these things back in these caves. So what if the plan is to pollute the surface, they'll have a certain elite people get to remain alive in some of these places that they have been stalking for the last 3 years. And then whoever is alive and remains after that maybe gets shipped off to the wall or the industrial complex city, or and then the elites get to go live on this island. It sounds like sci-fi, but why are they building these things? This is absolutely a dystopian society in the making. And we are sitting here almost clueless, just more concerned with putting food on the table than maybe what is coming down the line. So I'm putting this stuff out here. It's conspiracy. All right. We're going to say that. But you need to be very prayerful and start listening and watching what's going on around the world. I have a few more videos that I want you to watch today, though, if you've got the time. So let's look at this video.
Get right to it. I bet you didn't know that a NATO country was attacked today. And I'm not talking about a run-of-the-mill hybrid warfare attack on critical infrastructure. I'm talking about an actual weapons manufacturing facility was attacked today. I bet you didn't know that the Chinese are mobilizing millions for war. I bet you didn't know that the Russians are this close to kicking out one of the last remaining U.S. diplomats in the country. And I bet you didn't know that the Iranians have now basically put all of their important military assets underground, unveiling a new deep underground military complex for their aircraft to add to the dozens of DUMBs, as they're called, deep underground military bases that they already have. You probably didn't know that Kim Jong-un is going to be parading some of his finest nuclear weapons and stuffs in the next 24 hours. But the question is, are they going to do it? Because that would be very enticing for the South Koreans and the Americans. That would be very tempting for them to just do one strike to eliminate that problem altogether. If Kim Jong-un is going to concentrate all his forces, as they usually do, for this annual parade, are they going to be decoys, or is it going to be the real deal? We have a study that was released today that talks about how New Zealand is one of the places where you can survive nuclear winter because they're going to be able to grow their own food. Unfortunately, they're not going to be doing it with tractors because they don't have an unlimited energy supply. So prepared to go Amish. But of course, Silicon Valley's tech billionaires are not discouraged by that. They are buying up property in New Zealand in anticipation of the apocalypse. And there's no hyperbole to that statement whatsoever.
Did you hear that? No hyperbole to that statement whatsoever. They are buying up land in New Zealand because they believe that New Zealand is one of the countries that will survive nuclear fallout. Okay. Just watch what's going on. Do some research. Understand that off of our East Coast right now, there are supposedly Russian nuclear subs. Off of our West Coast, there are supposedly nuclear devices as well. So many of you have been watching the whole balloons and the UFOs and all of that stuff being shot down over the last few weeks. All of this could have been trials. Now, if you listen to the prophecy side of this thing as well, so supposedly there have been numerous people who have had dreams, visions, and Yahweh has spoken to them about a tidal wave that is going to hit the East Coast, basically wiping out the east part of Florida, New York City, Washington, D.C., all of that. And a lot of people are saying that is why Washington, D.C., the government has vacated and nobody's been there for a while now. Different conspiracy as well. You have to do your research on that for yourself. Everybody's thinking that we're on the cusp of this thing happening. And when that happens, they believe that they're going to release nuclear bombs as well off of our West Coast in the atmosphere that will create an EMP blast, which will shut down all electrical devices on the whole West Coast of the United States, thereby basically crippling our infrastructure as far as food and that type of stuff, because the majority of our crops now are grown on the West Coast and not in the heartland, because they've been paying the heartland farmers to keep their crops shut down for many, many years. And with all the chemical spills and all the burn-offs and all of this kind of stuff, now they seem to be polluting the land in such a way that if the heartland did try to grow crops, it may not be even feasible at this point. Things are growing in a major way right now. So we just need to be really careful about what's going on. I've got a couple more videos here that I want you to watch. You'd have to have your head under a rock if you didn't hear about the earthquake in Turkey. Now, here is a lady that is talking about the earthquake in Turkey and giving evidence that one of our ships what came on the coast of Turkey that had a heart device on it just days before the earthquake. So let's just listen to that for a minute.
I know it's long, but
last
listen.
Sunday on February 4th, 2023, carrying about 100 cruise missiles, the warship USS Nitsi, DDG-94, came to Bosphorus, Istanbul, and finally anchored in Dolmabahce. The unusual arrival of USS Nitsi warship to Turkey was suspected before the start of the devastating earthquake that hit the Middle East. On the same day, Turkish Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu told the American ambassador to Ankara, "Get your dirty feet off Turkey. We know what you are up to," Soylu said. The fact that the USS Nitsi was equipped with an electromagnetic HAARP device made it suspect. Ship travel usually only occurs in countries that are being colonized or threaten to be colonized. At the same time, Turkish media wrote that the crew of USS Nitsi arrived in Turkey to learn about local culture. It was stated that the ship, accompanied by Coast Guard, including 500 U.S. troops, will be transferred to Gulchik. Here, peoples are protesting that the arrival of the U.S. warship is tainting their homeland. Get out of our country, they shouted.
Right. That's what's going on in the world, guys. we, our media is not showing us this stuff. We're gonna have to wake up and realize that there are forces at work here, and we better pull our heads out of the sand really, really fast. Start paying attention to what's going on around the world. I have, I think, one more video that I want you to watch. No, I have two. One of them's rather long, so I'm just going to play you a minute or so of it. But going back to all this chemical fallout, I mean, all of the train wrecks, Texas, Ohio, California, everything that's going on, and how all of those chemicals are being put in our air. I want you to listen to what this young lady has to say here.
So according to the laws governing Agenda 2030 land development, any land deemed toxic, the government can seize it and kick everybody out and put people in 15-minute cities. This is all on the EPA website, by the way. And it's really weird that all of a sudden there's all these explosions in all these cities causing mass pollution. It's probably just a coincidence, I'm sure. But if it weren't, this sure makes a lot of sense. So according to the laws...
Sorry, craziness. It's absolutely craziness. Have the legal right to seize your land because it is now toxic, because they made it toxic by, crashing trains and exploding steel plants and burning down grocery factories and all of the other garbage that's been going on for the last 3 years. I get a little frustrated when I start talking about this, because some people are never going to wake up. They're going to listen to this and they're going to go, "Oh, that's just a bunch of conspiracy theory," and that's all right. This ain't for you. Go on, move along. This wasn't for you. But for those who are trying to wake up and see what's going on in the world, you need to listen. You need to listen in such a way that it provokes your heart to begin to prepare and seek the Father in what His next step for you and your family is. You need to have a plan. I mean, if you don't have a plan, that's what happened in the ghettos. That's what happened that led people to Auschwitz. So you better have a plan. You better be seeking the Father right now, because later might be too late. Watch this video though, and listen to what this guy has to say.
Wow, what China just did yesterday is historic and changes everything. And the White House was even asked about it, and they just kind of blew it off. We're not really worried about it. But they are worried about it, and they are watching it very closely, because this changes everything. Watch.
Xi Jinping made history today. The Chinese president landed in Riyadh. A red carpet awaited him. A historic Arab-China summit is to take place. And as the cameras of the world zoomed into Saudi Arabia, it was the United States that was watching most closely. With worry, with fear, America was watching its oil diplomacy fall apart.
So, wow, it is happening. More on that major piece of news in a second, but first, another major blow to the US dollar yesterday. Overnight, we learned that the BRICS nations are now expanding. Yes, Egypt has officially joined the BRICS Development Bank.
Pause that right there. Concerning the oil, we shut down our oil production. We stopped pipelines that would ensure our oil security for the next 100 years. And now we're losing our oil security with Saudi Arabia because China and Russia are meddling in that. Come on. How much of this stuff do we have to put in front of your face before you start to wake up and realize?
So let's be clear what's happening right in front of our faces. The BRICS nations of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are building their own reserve currency built on gold and other commodities like uranium, graphite, copper. The United States dollar is built on debt and the nothing, just like the never-ending story.
What is the nothing?
It's the emptiness that's left.
What is the nothing? Well, Atreyu, the nothing is a failure of Western hegemony, which is built on a house of cards. And now Egypt is applying for full membership in the BRICS alliance, but they're joining the bank piece of this first. And also Turkey, Saudi Arabia, they're both applying for BRICS membership as well, away from the US dollar as a reserve currency. So you can just imagine for a moment, a Russia, Saudi, China, India currency backed by gold? It's game on. Now BRICS is working to develop its own financial infrastructure, including a joint payment network with some.
Just to interrupt there for a minute, most of you are too young and don't study history enough to realize that before World War II, we were on the British pound. That was what basically backed all of our currency. Then we went to the US dollar, which was gold backed. After that, the world economy went to the gold backed US dollar. And then in 1977, the president said that basically banks no longer had to, because before then you could go into a bank and say, hey, here is my silver certificate, give me silver back. Here is my gold certificate, give me gold back, and they would have to do that for you. But I think it was 1977, the president said, we no longer have to do that, and which made us fully a fiat currency. They drained Fort Knox. They drained our gold reserves, our precious mineral reserves, and we went on totally a fiat currency. Well, if you know anything about fiat currencies throughout history, every one of them have failed and failed miserably. This fiat currency is failing right now. The other countries of the world are seeing that. They're going back to, mineral-based backing, whether that be gold, silver, uranium, lithium, or oil. They're starting to back their currency again with something that is tangible. So here we go. You better wake up and realize what's fixing to happen here, because the US dollar is fixing to be worth zero.
Member states having already switched to trade in local currencies in order to reduce dependence on the US dollar and the euro. The 5 BRICS economies currently account for more than 40% of the world's population and nearly a quarter of global GDP. So, guys, it's happening. And then you want to layer in Saudi Arabia and Turkey and Egypt. Again, this house of cards is falling. So this BRICS news is a huge piece of the story. So why is Saudi Arabia turning its back on the United States? Well, it can be traced back to one event, one big event, the start of the war in Ukraine. OPEC Plus and Saudi Arabia specifically warned the United States not to impose sanctions on Russia. They didn't listen. Europe didn't listen. Instead, they pig-headedly did the opposite, and we thought our relationship with Saudi Arabia would continue unabated. We'll just continue to buy your oil, send you weapons, and everything will be okay.
Because we could make this thing 2 hours long if we wanted to, just with video after video after video of what is really no conspiracy. This stuff is really happening in the world. They are really building. These BRICS nations are really building mineral-backed currency. Okay, that's not conspiracy. That's happening. Saudi Arabia is basically turning their backs on treaties that we've had since the 1990s, when the Gulf War happened, and are making deals with China and Russia because of the war in Ukraine, because they basically told us not to go in there and support them. I mean, if you've done any real research and not just believing the media narrative of what's going on there, Ukraine is not the nicest country. In fact, that they believe that is where maybe the world's cabal, the financial laundromat of the world, as well as most of our chemical factories and all of that stuff was based there in Ukraine. And not only that, Ukraine was a strategic thing where the European countries kept pressing Russia to where Russia wouldn't be able to defend itself if something did happen. So it was a strategic move for Russia to go into Ukraine, as well as a moral thing for them to go into Ukraine as well. So, number one, we should not be sending tanks to Ukraine. We shouldn't be depleting our arsenal, sending our material to Ukraine. I don't care what the news is telling you. Now we are making enemies out of long held allies. And all of this is 2 years. There's just 2 years of this stuff going on. If this guy has 2 more years of, I honestly don't know how we survive it. We're in very dangerous times. So, if some of this prophecy is about to play out, and this is, some disastrous days ahead for the United States, you need to be prayerful. You need to be watching and waiting, have your eyes fully open, seeking the Father through His Word. If He says move to the left, move to the left. If He says move to the right, move to the right. But always be in lockstep with where He wants you, because there's going to be a remnant. There's going to be many die. Revelations 12, or I think it's 12, says that He had power to make war with the saints and to overcome them. So many are going to die. But then there's this group, there's this remnant that He hides in the wilderness. So I tell people, it's a kind of a joke in our circle, but everybody wants to be the bride, but nobody wants to be the martyr. So the bride is those who get to die and go on and be with the Father when all of this is over. And the martyr is that remnant that gets to stay here and watch everything happen. So, and those are the ones that get the reward as well. So, do we want to be the bride or do we want to be the martyr? But I want you to just be prayerfully considering these things as we start to go into a new biblical year, and just wherever the Father wants you. If this isn't for you, if this is just a bunch of conspiracy stuff, if this is just a bunch of fear for you, shut it off. Don't listen to it. We don't. That's not our intent. That's not our motivation. But if you feel like there is something going on, then start educating yourself. Start understanding that there's a reason they want you to not be able to watch TikTok. Now, I'm not saying you need to be on there watching all these girls and guys shaking their behinds and all the foulness that is on there. But there are people like the ones I just showed you on there as well. And if you start friending those people and getting information, because these people are researching this stuff daily, and one person can't research all of that. So you rely on numerous ones and just get the culmination of that research, and know who's trusted and know who's not trusted, know who can support what they're saying and what they can't support. So the government wants to take that away from you, so you're not aware. So if you want to be made aware, and you want to be able to know how to pray about those things, that's a great source of information. So with that said, I'm going to say shalom. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Tents of Israel. We'll see you Friday night at 8 o'clock. I just wanted to do a little impromptu today. On Friday night, we will have our normal guest host with us, Chris and Ryan, and we will see you then. Maybe we'll have a couple more guests with us as well. But be blessed, and we'll see you next time on the Tents of Israel. Shalom, shalom, covenant keepers and children of Israel.